Yes, let's review and compare the new classified Serpentor, and we can discuss why I still am the ultimate Cobra leader. Hi, and welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence. Today we're going to take a look at the GI Joe Classified Cobra Emperor Serpentor. I just happened to be off this week. This thing came in. I figured, hey, you know what? The kids are at school. Let's start the video. Maybe we can finish it. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's going to get done after they get home from school. So anyway, before we get started, you know the drill. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. And definitely hit that bell notification so you are notified when something like this comes in, because we know Dr. Mindbender's coming in soon too. So anyway, enough about that, because you've already done all that stuff. Let's take a look at this quickly. I haven't even opened it up, haven't even pulled the sleeve off, haven't cut the tape or peeled the tape, whatever you want to do. We'll take a look at that. So there's the artwork. He looks absolutely awesome. This artwork is amazing. Again, Serpentor and Air Chariot. It is number 57. And on the back, you have a nice collage of him holding his fist up. Here you have Destro and the Baroness. You have him cauterizing a wound, sitting on the Lincoln Memorial, and of course, fighting with Cobra Commander. Now, these planes, I'm not really sure what they are. The red one looks like it's supposed to be a fire bat. Maybe they're all supposed to be fire bats. It's hard to tell. So we're going to review them. We're going to compare them to the original Ovary Serpentor. But anyway, I think we've wasted enough time looking at me. You want to look at Serpentor, or is it Serpentor? And I have to go back to the Hasbro Pulse, because that guy really knew his stuff. So I think he said his name is Serpentor, right? Serpentor. Anyway, let's take a look at this. All right, so quick look. I did forget to mention, he does come in the normal shipping box inside the box, so he should come pretty well sealed. Now, I did cut the tape. Now, there's a bunch of tape. I'll probably go through and try and peel it off later on just to get rid of it. But if you slice up top and the bottom, this will slide out. So your sleeve is off. And then here you have the DNA. Now, I do not have Dr. Mindbender, so I cannot tell you if it is the exact same front of the box. Unfortunately, I live in the United States, where we don't get stuff before other countries. So we're just going to swing this bad boy open, and the presentation is absolutely wonderful. This is how a box art should be done. Whether this thing is worth $80, well, that will be determined as we go through it. So from what I understand, this figure is supposed to be extremely large. So we will move over here. He just kind of sits there. It doesn't look like there's any bands or clips holding him in, just the plastic. I love how the Air Chariot looks like it is being either constructed or tested, just to make sure that it is 100% up to spec. There you have his Cobra staff. It's not technically a dagger. This would be more like a sword. There is the Cobra that he used to kill Duke. Well, it should have killed Duke, but Optimus Prime killed that. But as we know, Optimus Prime is actually way cooler than Duke, and Duke should have died. And here we have the second back piece for the helmet. There's the top of it, and then his blade. So let's not waste any more time. Let's take a look at this. I've already watched someone open it up. See, I do like here you have Mars up here. This presentation is absolutely awesome. This is actually made to look like he is about to step out of his either regeneration chamber or where they actually created him. I think this looks awesome. This is a really, really nice, thick box. He's going to go with Dr. Mindbender. Absolutely wonderful. That is for sure. And I don't see any Cobra logos on him, which is good, because Cobra Commander has always been my leader. So looking at it here, I believe we're going to cut the tape here, and then the whole tray is going to slide out. But I guess we can try and do it quickly on camera. If it takes too long, I'm not going to waste anyone's time here. I know that Air Chariot does need to be put together. So yeah, this opens up. Look at that, nice and easy. And I'm trying not to ruin anything on the box, because this display is extremely nice. So as you're watching me try and pull this out, if you haven't, take a second, go hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button. Oh, you know what? I think they have it taped over on this side too. So what we're going to do is we're going to stop this. Oh, yes. It's taped up here. I don't know why the hell they would do this. I saw someone else talk about this. So there's tape up here before you peel it. Try and pull him out and ruin it. Look at that. I already kind of dug into the box there. That bothers me, especially with how nice this technically looks. So just slowly peel it. All right. There we go. So now that that is off, you should be able to pull him out. All right. And there is the Air Chariot. Right behind it, a little bit of assembly. Snake is up here. A few other things. So I'm going to stop the video. I'm going to put this together. I'll explain if there's anything that needs to be figured out, and then come back. All right, so quickly, I have everything opened, everything out. Once again, it does come with some weapons. The 50 cals in this Cobra GI Joe paper. The box, the way this slides out. If you cut the top up here, you can slide this out to get the Air Chariot out if you don't want to remove the tape. Everything else is kind of just clipped in. Like I haven't even taken the 50 cals out here. Here's the giant snake. The one thing that I will say, I did notice, I guess if you do not want to keep the box, all right, as awesome as this may look, if you look back here, you can cut the back piece out and still have a backdrop for Serpentor. Now, obviously, the Air Chariot is kind of there, but maybe you just want to have him standing there without the Air Chariot. Maybe you think, hey, you know what? He has multiple Air Chariots. One is being repaired. It would make sense. But anyway, it looks like they did create a backdrop for you if you want. I definitely will not be cutting this box out, and I can't imagine a lot of people will. So I'm going to close this up, get everything out, and come back. All right, I'm back. Screw it. Put it in 4K. It just can take me longer to download it and do all that other good stuff. So looking at this, it looks like this is supposed to be the ammo box. All right. So this is supposed to be the ammo box, which is where the ammunition is feeding out of. Then it's going to go into the port here, which should feed up on top of here. Now, again, I can see where someone's complaint would be, especially someone that is very tactical. It would have been better had they just kind of made something where it kind of stuck out a little more, where it seemed to fit better, but they don't always do that. They are clearly not, weapons experts. That's not a big deal to me. I know to some people it is a huge, huge issue, but I'm not going to complain. I think it does look really cool. All right, and again, this is made so he can pick it up. They put the ammunition so they feed on either side, and it just kind of plugs right in. No problems whatsoever. All right, and on the back here, I believe these things are... All right, so there are two different ones. I would say the outside one's bending out this way. Should go a certain way. I don't even have mine. I thought my original had it. I guess they don't, so that thing's not complete. If we take this, I'm going to plug it in there, and it's going to be on an angle. This thing just clips right in. No issues whatsoever, and it feels like you could pull them off pretty easily. So there's that. And then here is Serpentor. Serpentor, as some people in the Hasbro building would call it, Serpentor, the Cobra Emperor. Guy had no clue who Serpentor was. All right, so where should we start? Do we want to look at the air chariot first? Let's look at the air chariot because we already got it out. Compare that. So here's our O-ring air chariot. So this thing is a very large toy. As you can see, it takes up the size of Serpentor. So you do have this dial here, which if anyone remembers, this one had a dial. So right there, I've heard some people say, I don't even know the reason why they would make you do that. Well, the reason why they make you do it is because the original had that. Just looking at it right here, got a couple cluster gauges. I don't know who's looking at that, but maybe that's where the maintenance workers are going to look. I like that it's 250 cals rather than the laser cannons. The cannons on the on the original air chariot don't look all that good. You got some nice color here. Up here, it looks like he has his speedometer. I'm sure he's really concerned about breaking the speed limit. Here you have your Cobra just kind of sticking out. You look at the front here, and this gold is a different color along with that. So there are some paint apps. The mouth is definitely different. And when the mouth opens up, there is a laser in it. And I think you can point it up and down. Oh, just a little bit, not really. Basically made to open. I think I will probably leave it closed like the original. And here they have the black through here, kind of looking like the grates, where obviously your air is going to go through. I think they did a really nice job. Here's the gun reactor. Caution. It seems like Serpentor wouldn't really care too much about caution and eating everything like that. Now what they did here was they did give it feet. So let's open this up. I really wish they would have made a stand for this so it can make it look like it's flying. So there are the feet. I'm going to set it down and it actually looks really nice. I'll lower this here. So that looks cool. So now comparing it to the two, this is not my original, I don't believe. Now obviously I'm missing the wingtips. Didn't even realize I was. It has the King Cobra or Emperor. So there you can see it. There we have it there. The front of it, now on the original one, this one is actually broken. If you move the handles, the head moves back and forth. Where this one, it does not, because it technically doesn't move at all. But they took the grates, which are all throughout it. They put some color behind it so it doesn't look as dingy or just like nothing is there. Obviously, they have changed the guns, but they kept them black. I like the fact that he can pull these off. These are some sort of 50 cal. Oh, and here, again, you don't even think about this because you play with these things when you're a kid, but here he has his gauge clusters over here also. Here's where the peg goes. I like the fact that they gave it actual footing. He's got some grip tape. I wonder if he stopped at Modern Skate and picked some up. It'd be pretty cool if he did. And here is where the jet is. That's obviously going to make it hover. Where, as I mentioned before, this one spins. So they did the same thing. They gave it silver. It looks very similar. Around the edges, they did the same. So they did a really wonderful job of taking this and recreating it into a bigger scale. Now, one thing I do like that they did was they never really had here was any type of engine. All right, you just had all this exhaust where they actually put exhaust on here, or not exhaust, but engines. So this is how it is going to propel forward. And then again, on the bottom here, so you got the hydraulics, you got your Cobra on the bottom. These stickers, who knows, again, I don't remember if I put these on or this was someone else's. you know, so many things pass through your hands. So let's move this out of the way. Okay, and let's take a look at Serpentor and everything that he comes with. So here is our original snake, and here is the new snake. And let's just say that the original gold snake doesn't seem to make a lot of sense other than it matches Serps here. This new one here, he's kind of, I mean, he's all one piece, so you can't stretch him out, but he does have some nice paint apps. So he's got a nice red mouth. His eyes are black. He's got the tuxedo style white bottom here. Trying to look, it looks like maybe there's a little bit of issues, but this looks really cool. It's gonna stay up. You don't have to worry about it falling over. This one always, he was a little head heavy. Here we have his sword. Technically, his sword is his dagger. So take this off. There's his dagger. You can tell by the shape of it, it's technically what it's supposed to be, but what was he really going to do with this? So I'm just going to put that to the side. And on it here, we have a cobra. You got your nice painted, your painted blade. I think it looks really nice. You even got a little paint app right there of red. Let's get the razor out. The thing that should have killed the Duke. I wish it would have. I hated Duke, and keeping Duke around just upset me as a kid. So I don't think there's any paint apps on this. Nothing on the eyes. This is just meant for him to throw. If you remember, he pulled it off here, and then he just chucked it. And if I remember correctly, it magically was back there. And then here is his cobra staff. I don't fully remember him having this. Now this is on a swivel for some reason. Technically you can swivel this. This, clearly, he does not like trash. So I can see him going around Cobra Island, around the Terradrome, picking up trash, shoving it in Viper's faces, saying, "How dare you leave trash around?" This is something more I could see Cobra Commander with, rather than Serpentor. And then he has his two blades. This one is retracted. This one is obviously extended. And they will go on the side. So I'm guessing that's what that is right there, which honestly I never even realized. But I do believe on some of the later Serpentors, which I do not have, he does have a blade like this. And then here is the top of his helmet and his back cowl that you will use to make this Serpentor if you want the OG. The way they have this one set up is for the newer style. I believe the 4-inch style. I could be wrong. I don't have them. So let's take a look at this thing. We're going to pose them. We're going to compare them to the original Serpentor, and then we will wrap this up. So he's got this hood on here, and his head, nothing really moves because of the way that it's pegged in on the back from everything that I've seen. So we will remove that after. So let's see here. We go up to a T-pose. I have heard that he is kind of tight. And he definitely is tight. Definitely going to have to hit him with a hairdryer. Can't really do too much because he has this on him. So I don't really think I can take off this to drop him in water, which is what I like to do rather than using the blow dryer. Yeah. Okay, so this guy is super tight. And so his knees are bending for the most part. Elbows. So I'm not even gonna fight with it. I'm gonna stop the camera. I'm gonna heat him up. I'm gonna move his joints around, and then we'll come back. Okay, I am back. Let me tell you something. Heat this guy up like he is a Series 1 Valaverse. He is tight. He is so damn tight. It's crazy. But again, people complain that they're loose. You're not going to have to worry about it. Knees, I was able to get it to turn one way. You really have to loosen it up. And what you have to watch for is when you're heating it up, if you're trying to bend here, you're going to pull away from the boot cut. So you got to be very careful about that. Technically, you could take this off once you move it out of the joints. I'm pretty sure you could probably take this off and just heat them up in water, which I prefer to do anyway because I know that will equally heat the figure up. But once I got him going, he seems to be okay, which is how a lot of high-end figures are. Again, this was an issue that people had with Valaverse when they first came out, but again, this is a problem with all kinds of figures. I'd rather them be super tight than super loose because you can always, as long as they're not, glued or anything. So one of the issues that I've heard people have is getting him into the T-pose and getting it up. That's what she said. But people complaining about getting their arms up and locking it in. Let's move this camera. And I'm going to tell you, I believe that the reason that there is an issue with that is because the cape gets stuck inside the joint. So then there's not enough room to move the shoulder up and down. So all you have to really do is move this out of the way, and then you can move it up all the way. All right, so points of articulation, I think we all know what they are. I'm really not going to go through it. You've seen how tight he actually is. Here we have a big hole, unfortunately, so he has to have one of these on at all times. I have heard people complain about this gap here, and I'll be honest, I don't really blame anyone. It feels like the snake should have been tighter around it. Maybe that got loosened up in the heating process or whatever, but I don't think you're gonna see it too bad. But again, for what we're paying, we want our figures to look extremely nice. But I want you guys to understand this also is not just an $80 figure. You got a very big vehicle here, bigger than one of the motorcycles, looks better, and it can't just be reused. So anyway, let's look at the back here. So this is where that comes off. So we're going to pop off this because I don't really like this one. So it just pegs right on like that. And so here we have the top of the snake. So I have seen people have complaints, and not complaints, but have issues where the eye is not painted on properly. I don't have an issue with either eye. I didn't even know what they were talking about at first. Just wasn't really showing up, and then once it got pointed out, you could not see it. And it's multiple people, so it wasn't just like one. So that's unfortunate. I hope Hasbro will do something, but unfortunately, we sometimes see how they are. So here we have our OG looking Serpentor. So we're going to take this, we're going to throw this on, since technically he has it on. And now let's do our comparison and see how they compare. I do not have the cape, unfortunately. That's what I don't have with Serpentor, that's for sure. So we're going to just look at the body before we get to the head here. So here he has the snakes, just like in the cartoon. And he has the snakes here that coil around. And then coming up to the chest, you have the two tails that kind of wrap around. So technically, these snakes are going all the way around. Once again, it is amazing the things that you don't realize when you're a kid, that these snakes go all the way around. I've never paid attention to that. I'm sorry. Things you learn when you're doing reviews. So it was yellow down the middle here. They made it more of a gold. Kind of reminds me of Goldbug from Transformers. And then you have his scales here. And they gave them wonderful scales going straight down. So the texture on this figure cannot be reused. I mean, they can repaint it, do a lesser version, which I'm willing to bet they will. All right, so here we go down to the legs, and right down You have your snake mouth right here. Again, never realized there was a snake mouth, nor did I ever really touch Serpentor's crotch, but seem to be touching a lot of figures' crotches these days. He's got the snake head here. And then you go down to the armor, and it has obviously two different scales here. And they do the same with the classified version. Then you go down to the knees. I mean, all the way down to the wraps, the way it wraps around the boot, it looks amazing. Here he has more like snake slippers on. These look more like boots, so I'll take the boots any day. And we look at the side of him. So he has the green gauntlets. On the original, he has snake teeth coming out. It looks like they dropped the snake teeth on this side and on this side. But again, what I had never noticed is here he has this claw that's going to extend more like the predator claw. And here he technically does, I believe, have it there. If you look there, look at this. And we'll grab this and we'll kind of point it out. There we go. So I never even realized that he had that on there. Nice attention to detail. The fingertips here are gold, where it's more like the whole hand here, but I think the fingertips seem to make more sense. They also are scaled to look very similar, but again, these are snake heads, and technically, that's just my finger. That is a snake head also. Look at that. The eyes right there. So he doesn't have the teeth, but it does have the snake eyes. That's the snake head. This looks awesome. They knocked it out of the park with this figure. I'm not even a Serpentor fan. All right, so here we're going to look at the head. And let's be honest, this looks more like it is a custom XFL football helmet, where this looks like it should be a mask. It's integrated into him, even though we know it can come off. And so when you look at the side here, there's how he kind of sits up. He's got the eye on the top. The color kind of does match. They went lower. Oops. So they went all the way up here higher. There's the eye up there. With this Serpentor, it is lower, and then the eye kind of sticks up. Now this thing keeps falling off, and I'm wondering if that's going to be an issue, or maybe because I had just warmed him up. Then when you look at the back, here he just had scales all across, where this, they made it look more like an actual cobra if he was about ready to attack and opening up. But even on the inside, you notice here, they scaled up there and left the different scales in the back there, which is what we have here. Again, a wonderful, wonderful modernization of this figure. Now looking at the paint, I don't see any issues with it. Everything looks good. Cobra eyes are painted there. Mouths are red. No bleeding up here. Everything looks really good. I mean, you got paint just following right across there. And it doesn't bleed up in here at all. My eyes are matched where they're supposed to be. I feel bad for anyone that theirs isn't, because Hasbro does not like to send out replacement parts. His belt has eyes and a mouth all painted nicely. Fingers, everything looks good. This is an A+ figure. I can't say A+. This is an A figure for sure, and everything that it comes with. Here's the other helmet. Maybe you like this one. The eyes look like they're painted properly. No issues. The teeth are silver. Same with this one over here. Guess we really didn't even look at his face here. Take off his helmet. Oh, I have a mohawk. So eyes look really good. There's nothing wrong with this paint here. You have the piece that's going to come up here. like he's snowboarding. He wants to keep warm up underneath there. So all in all, a wonderful, wonderful looking figure. Let's put his long extended claw on him, like it just expanded. Now again, I don't know where this is actually supposed to retract to. I will be using this one. We got his staff. He does have a trigger finger, so if he wants to pick up the cannons, the 50 cals, he can. And let's see here. We'll open up his hand a little bit. See, I do complain about some companies giving us too many hands, but having a couple hands wouldn't be all that bad. Here he has his staff. Come on. These two are bound to be together. Look at that. We got the Havoc staff. We got the Cobra staff. They look pretty badass together, to be honest. I'm gonna get rid of Skeletor right now. Then we have a sword. We put a sword in this. I know this is going long. I'm gonna apologize, guys, but hey, you know what? You guys are the ones that have hung around for this long. There we go with his sword. Oh, I may actually have him kill Duke because, again, I hate Duke. Have I mentioned that? I think I mentioned that a few times already. This is going to be a long video, and I apologize, guys. But this is Serpentor. So, and let's get him. Oh, yeah. I brought up Roadblock so you can see the difference in the actual height. And, God, he is huge. I mean, I'm putting him up here so you can see how big he is. Roadblock on this buck is one of the biggest figures. I believe he is the same height as Gung Ho and the Amazon exclusive Roadblock. So they did say he's going to be big. Oh crap, He-Man. And so he sets at almost the same height as He-Man. If I put He-Man's legs together, he's going to be a little bit taller. Kind of see it here with, let's see what we put. So he technically looks like he's a little bit taller than Skeletor, or right around the exact same height. So not bad. You're getting a lot for this, a lot for your money. That is for sure. So now let's put him on the air chariot. 2 holes. They should plug in. All right, so I would say not to plug it in while you have the legs open on the bottom, which I just did again. And it's going to take a little bit of time to play around with this. Let's get off camera. We'll do it and wrap this up. Woo, look at him. He's just hanging on. All right, so there it is. That is the Serpentor on the air chariot. Here I have him just kind of hovering around. I'm going to try and find a way to get him up. If I can find something inexpensive, I'll do a quick video and show you guys how I got it. So I made it look like he's levitating, floating. Now, I've mentioned before, I do not like Serpentor. And what I mean by I don't like Serpentor is I'm a Cobra Commander guy. Always was. Pretty sure always will be. So, for me, I decided that he was going to be part of my coil. Now, if you remember in the comic, when I was reading it, they went to this Cobra coil. There was factions. I'm just going to name it coil. I'm using all the Valaverse bad guys as his guys. And I would show you how, like, that new Swarm one that's all gold fits with him, but the only people getting those are guys from Dorkside. So if you ordered from Valaverse, guess you're like me, just going to sit around and wait. I was under the assumption you order through Valaverse, you get them first. I was wrong. Anyway, not going to get off on that. So here we go. Serpentor. He looks awesome. To me, I know it's not an import. This is a high-end figure. $80. Everything that we're getting, I kind of understand why. It's limited quantity. I do think that in the future, we probably will get this guy in the classified line without the air chariot, probably with a few less accessories, won't have 2 different helmets. My guess is he'll actually have maybe just this helmet or head whatever you want to call it. So I am going to wrap it up. This video is going to go extremely long. I switched to 4K so you could see it a little better. It's going to take it forever to download. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try and get it up tonight. But then again, you guys don't know when tonight is, so why am I rambling on about that? Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. I know I go on and on. I like to be as thorough as possible. If you're jumping to the end, again, heat this figure up. Do not be like, you know, some hero and say, I didn't need to heat him up. You will snap this figure. You will break this figure. And I know, some a-hole is going to make in the comments, I didn't do that. I don't care. Be smart with your figures. I don't start heating them up and moving their joints. But when I try and move the joints, if there is any type of resistance where you can tell it's going to be an issue, drop them in some hot water, not boiling water, hot tap water, or use the blow dryer, that is. That's what happens when you ramble on too much. And believe it or not, I'm actually getting this video done before I have to go pick up the kids. And I just have editing to do, which I know if you see my videos, you're going, you don't really edit, but I gotta clip stuff together and different things like that. But I'm gonna get out of here because I've gone on too long. Anyway, you know the drill. The social medias, Punk with Toys on Instagram and Twitter. There will be a link to this in the description to the Facebook group page, Punks with Toys, because once you join, you're a Punk with Toy. And I get to claim any toys that I want of yours. No, seriously, like I once said that to a client about their copier, and I said, oh, well, I fixed it. It's mine now. And her mind almost exploded. Anyway, last thing, hit the like button, which I know you've hit the like button because you've spent so much time watching this. The subscribe button and the bell notification. I'm going to get out of here. Have a wonderful day. And happy toy hunting, or happy just waiting for FedEx, UPS, or whoever to drop this off.